Hi, I'm Renee Ng, and welcome to In Focus California, the show where we delve into the issues that matter to you. We talk to lawmakers, community organizers, and others who shape the policies that affect your life. Today, we're celebrating Italian American Heritage Month and the influence Italian immigrants have had on Southern California. Italians, especially those from northern Italy, were some of the first European settlers in California. We all know we have them to thank for pizza, pasta, and mozzarella. But as one Italian American learned, the Italian influence on Southern California culture goes much deeper. Meet Marianna Gatto, director of the Italian American Museum of Los Angeles.
When I was an undergraduate, I learned about this building that had been the Italian American community's gathering place in the early 1900s, and it just ignited this spark.
That historic building is called Italian Hall and is now the site of the Italian American Museum of Los Angeles, which Marianna Gatto, who is second generation, co-founded in 2016.
And if you are interested in understanding the history of this city, a great lens to do that is by looking at the Italian American experience.
Gatto says Italians first arrived in Los Angeles in 1827, when it was still part of Mexico.
At that time, arriving in Southern California was not an easy task. You know, before California was connected to the rest of the nation by the railroad, you really had to be very determined to get here.
Gatto says early Italian settlers became farmers.
Italian Americans introduced many crops to the region, including broccoli, bell pepper, artichokes.
What many people don't realize, Gatto says, is that Italian immigrants were instrumental in developing California's wine industry.
Many people think of Napa as being synonymous with California's wine industry, but it actually started here in Los Angeles.
In fact, a street in downtown LA used to be called Wine Street.
The area around Alvarez Street was vineyards, so many of those were Italian-owned, and there was, tens of thousands of gallons of wine produced in Los Angeles by the mid-1800s.
Skyscrapers eventually devoured downtown vineyards, all but one, that is.
The oldest winery in Los Angeles, the San Antonio Winery, which has celebrated its 100th anniversary, remains.
Another relic of Italian American history, St. Peter's Italian Catholic Church, built in 1907.
In the early 1900s, the Los Angeles Archdiocese ordered the construction of 2 churches to serve the Italian population, to make them into good Catholics, if you will. And St. Peter's Church was one of those.
Even today, this icon of the past draws members of the Italian American community together.
It hosts numerous feast days, religious celebrations, and there's still Mass in Italian on Sundays.
Initially, Italian immigrants were welcomed.
Because of the similar culture between Italians and Mexicans, Catholic faith, similar languages, Italians were more or less welcomed in the early days.
That changed when an anti-immigrant sentiment swept across the U.S. in the early 1900s.
There were laws passed that prohibited Chinese immigration, for example, and other laws that almost cut off Italian immigration to the United States. At that point, Italians were considered the undesirables.
One person who escaped the anti-immigrant backlash became the first Italian American to win an Academy Award.
I'm so afraid.
Frank Sinatra, for Italian Americans of that generation, was really kind of symbolic of having made it, of having achieved that level of acceptance.
She says Italian Americans also made their mark in politics.
John Ferraro, who was a longtime president of the Los Angeles City Council, he was integral in bringing the Olympics to Los Angeles, as well as in the construction of the Staples Center.
And all that history is housed here, under one roof, at the Italian American Museum of Los Angeles. Gatto says the experience goes beyond learning about Italians.
You can't tell the story of the Italian American community without telling the story of Southern California. And I think as the city continues to grow and change at this frenetic speed, knowing our history, preserving our history is really important.
Marianna Gatto says large Italian American populations are still found all over Los Angeles, including Santa Monica, Beverly Hills, Eagle Rock, Glendale, and San Pedro.